I've created for you a notebook file that combines various content forms such as text, audio, images, video, and interactivity. I started by simply asking a question. What's the story about? By adding this shade, I could slowly reveal a picture so that the students can immediately be engaged and try and figure out what story they're going to read. The gray circles that you see allow me to pull the shade. I can pull in two different directions. The story is about Charlotte's Web. So I would then ask the students to read chapter 1 in Charlotte's Web. I may have students in my class that are still learning the English language, or perhaps I have students that are not as strong in reading and would like to follow along. So I can add a YouTube video where it reads chapter 1 to my students. Then I can ask students to come up and assess their knowledge of the characters that they read about in chapter 1 by allowing the students to go to the pens at the top of the page and choose which color they'd like. They can draw a line from the character's name to the picture. Different colors can be used for different students to show attribution. Then I can assess my students' understanding of a particular passage, much like they would have to do on the PARCC assessment. You can copy and paste a particular passage from chapter 1 onto your notebook page, read it with your students, and ask them to use the highlighter found in your 3 pens to highlight the main idea and talk about what they can infer from this particular passage. All tools that will ready them for PARCC assessment. Then you can ask a question. Have the students use the online keyboard found on your interactive flat panel or interactive whiteboard or on the computer and have them type the answers to the questions. If you need additional pages, use your dual or single page display, also found on your view screens icon, which will allow me to show 2 pages at once. My students need additional space to answer the question. You can also assess the students' vocabulary knowledge. Have them write or type in a word that they found, and they can drag and drop the word into the table. Drag and drop is another method that the students will need to know and will use while taking the PARCC assessment. You can have the students either type or write and drag and drop the prediction of the meeting, as well as their strategy to determine the meeting, and then confirm their actual meaning. Next, we can have additional questions from chapter 1 or chapter 2. If students have a hard time reading, you can add sound. At the beginning of the story, did Mrs. Arabelle agree with Mr. Arabelle or with Bert at the pig? How do you know? At the beginning, students can either write their answers or type their answers using the keyboard. You can add a timer. Ask the students a question or give them a statement. Ask them to think, pair, share. Set the timer for 3 minutes and have them discuss. We can also link to outside resources. And I can have students come up and write answers to questions right on this page using my smart ink. Using my random word chooser, I can randomly select a student to come and answer. So I hope you enjoyed this example of how to use a combination of content in a notebook file to help engage your students and to formatively assess their knowledge of a particular passage or book, whether it be nonfiction or fiction. Now it's your turn to go and create one. Good luck!